I am Dr. Neeta Sharma, Assistant Professor, Shri Shankaracharya Mahavidyalaya, Junwani. My topic is William Wordsworth, Ode on Intimations of Immortality, MA English, 2nd semester, Unit 2. Romanticism period 1790 to 1850. The main features of this era are an emphasis on emotional and imaginative spontaneity, the importance of self expression and individual feeling, an almost religious response to nature, emphasis on the imagination as a positive and creative aspect, an idea of the poet as a visionary figure with an important role to play as prophet. So, the other important romantic poets of this era are Thomas Gray, William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and John Keats. So, what is the theme of this poem? In 1815, when the poem was republished, William Wordsworth expanded the title to Ode Intimations of Immortality from Recollections of Early Childhood. Intimation means hints, inklings, or indirect suggestions. Most readers and critics today use the title Intimations of Immortality when referring to the poem. So now we come to the summary of the poem. In the first second stanza, the poet tries to explain as a child, the poet saw all objects of nature clothed in heavenly splendor. But now that he has attained maturity, he regrets that the splendor has vanished forever. He misses the glory and the dreamlike freshness which he saw in nature in his childhood days. It is the season of spring, and all nature is so beautiful. The poet sees manifestations of joys by birds and lambs, but he is visited by a sad thought. He realizes that his grief is out of key with the joyous scene of a bright May morning and is impelled to rejoice with nature's dumb creatures and shepherd boys at play. He forces himself into a sympathetic gaiety. However, his mood of cheerfulness does not last long because a look at stray objects of nature remind him that something has passed away from the face of the earth. In a tone of sadness, he asks himself where the glory and the dream have gone. So, in the third and the fourth stanza, he tries to explain. The poet now proceeds to answer the question that he has put to himself. When a man is born in this world, he brings with him some shadowy recollections of a divine origin. In his infancy, he is surrounded with heavenly radiance. It transforms the world around him. But as he advances in years, the darkness of the earth, which is a prison house for the soul, began to surround him till at last the light completely disappears in his manhood days. So, in the fifth stanza, he explains Earth is the kindly foster mother of men. She tries to lure the child away from heaven by offering all the pleasures and pleasant pursuit she can give and to make him forget his desire for the spiritual home. So, in the sixth paragraph, he explains the small child of 6 years is lured away from thoughts of his divine origin by the love of his parents. He plays with his toys and arranges them according to some design of his own and with a skill that he has newly acquired. So in the next paragraph, the child, in the next paragraph, the child is unaware of the vastness of his soul. He is the best philosopher, the eye among the blind. The child, being haunted by the divine presence, is the best prophet and seer. He knows the truth which grown up men spend all their lives to learn. The sense of immortality dominates the child as a master controls the slave. It is strange that the child should forget his divine heritage and blindly enter into the struggle for existence. So, in the next paragraph, he tries to explain it delights the poet to think that in our ashes there still exists some spark of heavenly flame, and that we remember even now something of that radiance which was so fleeting. He offers his thanks to childhood not because the child is always happy, carefree, and hopeful, but because of those intuitions which bring home to us the unreality of the material world and the reality of that radiance which illumines earthly life and enable us to realize that the years we spend on earth are only moments in the being of infinitude. Nothing can destroy these intuitions, and in our tranquil mood, they have the power of carrying us to a region where we can become aware of the spiritual life. He again said, the poet asked the bird, the young lambs, and the shepherds to continue celebrations of spring. He is inclined to share their festive mood, though only in imagination. It is true that the heavenly glory that the poet used to see in nature in his childhood days has departed forever. The poet addresses the fountains, the madhu, the hills, and the groves and tells them that his love for them has not declined. He has relished only one delight in order to live more constantly as a matter of habit under the direct influence of nature. So, what is the form of the poem Wordsworth Immortality Ode, as it is often called, is written in 11 variable odd stanzas with variable rhyme schemes in iambic lines with anything from 2 to 5 stressed syllables. The rhyme occasionally alternate lines, occasionally fall in couplets, and occasionally occur within a single line. So now we come to the conclusion of the poem. In the ode Intimations of Immortality, Wordsworth concluded that he gives thanks that was able to gain even he lost his vision of the joy in the world. But in the later work, he tones down his emphasis on the gain and provides only a muted thank for what remains of his ability to see the glory in the world. So here I have given the references. Thank you.